And salutations, it's me, Salty. Welcome back to Sensoys, and today I'm going over, oh boy, I'm just gonna call him Horse. I'm going over Horse, from Mythic Legions. This was donated to me by Dante over from the Infinity Equation, link in the description of their channel down below. They do a great podcast every Friday where they go over all the toy news of the week, all in one area, and it's really fun. I highly recommend watching it. Great chemistry between all of them. Now, this is the mount for Arthur. Did we ever establish how that's said? Doesn't matter. Demon dude with all the flames and all that. This is his horse. I mentioned it in that video where I had procured this dog in lieu of having the horse. So this is what I've had, and now there's a horse. So don't worry, we'll get our height comparisons and articulation and all that. It's going to be a weird video. I've never gone over a horse before. Imagine it won't be too dissimilar from talking about like the Triceratops or Battle Cat or anything like that, but we're going to go with it. You see, we get the horse, we have 2 shields and 2 swords. What they're for, who they go to, I don't know. Maybe they're just backup weapons, extra weapons, in which case, good in my book. And because this box is so big, it doesn't really fit in my recording space, I'm going to show you pictures. So here's the right side of the box, there's the left side, and there's the top, and there's the bottom. Here's the back side of the box where we get Arthur again, or Arthur, however it's said. Maybe the horse is pronounced Aethon? Aethon? I don't know. Horse. There's a little bit of a read up. All out of the way, let's get him open, look at the detail on him, go over articulation, we'll put Arthur on him, stand him next to the dog and all that kind of stuff, and we'll call it a day. So here's Horse out of the package, and there's a ton of sculpted detail going on here, and a lot of paint, and a lot of accessories that I'm assuming might be removable. I know this one pops out at least, because it fell out when I pulled it out, but I think it's supposed to because it's got pegs. So here's the shields. They're just in that color with some orange rivets, or maybe brass rivets. Simple little handle on the back. And here's these loops on the saddle, which that's where they're going to live, on these loops. And they're on both sides of the horse. The sword maybe can go there, but then you're cutting into the horse, which here's the sword hilt up close. Very straight, very well constructed.
This is a good sword.
And here's the shield up close, only because I showed you the sword. And they fit in Motu Origin's hands, as well as in classified hands. So does the shield, which means when Condor from Action Force arrives, he's probably going to get this sword. Maybe Karak. Maybe 2 of them. And they fit in Black Series hands as well. But most importantly, they also fit in Mythic Legion hands, which one would hope. Alright, so that's enough lollygagging. Let's look at some of the detail on this thing before we go over articulation. So there's the saddle up close. You can see we got some sculpted fur, nice leather. They've even got kind of stitching on the leather with rivets punched in, the buckles, the tanning on the saddle itself, some stuff sketched in. Not sure how well these are going to work with Arthur, or Arthur, however we're saying it, because they feel very thinly constructed. I won't lie to you, they feel kind of prone to snapping at some point. There's the top of the saddle. Like I said, the little sleeping roll on pegs and kind of pops out willy-nilly. I mean, you could super glue it in if you wanted to, but you know, that's entirely on you, which it has its own stitching and texture and all that kind of stuff. There's this little doohickey, which someone who's more familiar with equestrians can tell me what this is for, but lots of sculpted detail in here with fur, whatever this thing is. Lots of veins and texture to the horse. It almost looks like the skin has been peeled back and like maybe this is exposed muscle, but since there's veins and all that, I'm assuming that it's just red fur. We have lots of flames down here on the hooves. Not sure how much of this kind of overpaint is intentional, or if it's supposed to look that way, or if that's an accident, but we do have it, including the flames or fur or whatever this is on the hind legs. We have sculpting on the bottom of the hooves. No horseshoes though, so that's kind of weird. We have the tail here. Starts out orange, goes to yellow. It's making me wonder how much of this is flame versus how much of this is some type of fur. An observation. And we have the bridle up here at the top, which has these kind of goat horn, ram horns on it. I think these might actually be like troll horns in their lore. Maybe, I don't know. Very intimidating. Lots of sculpted detail in there as well, with straps and buckles and the spikes and all. We have a real metal chain. It makes a lot of noise though, but it is nice. Nice to have a different material being used. You know, that flame motif kind of follows up to the mane there. Exposed teeth and nostrils. Same kind of yellow eyes Arthur has. Now, I feel like most of this stuff is removable, so I'm going to find out off camera real fast, and if it is, I'll take it off. The saddle and bridle were able to be removed. I think that's called the bridle, right? The thing that goes on the head. It doesn't matter. Not to me anyway. But you could remove that stuff. This, unfortunately, seems like it's put on when they assemble it, and then they push the head neck down into it, because there's no seam line to do it, and this won't pop out, at least willingly. Nice to be able to see kind of the body without everything on it. As much as I appreciate the sculpt and everything else, just nice to see it. And we can actually see a lot of that sculpt that was hiding under there. I think it came out extremely well, if not a little terrifying, but extremely well. We even got tongue and teeth in there. Let's put it all back on and go over articulation. Alright, well, I guess we'll start at the head, kind of work our way down in an L shape, and then a secondary L shape, then go over the tail. That's the best way I can figure out how to do it. Head and neck combined, that's as far up as it looks. Head by itself, that's as far down as it looks. Head and neck combined, that's how far down. And a little bit of rotation of side to side. With the neck, we have up, we have down. We have some lateral side to side, as well as longitudinal rotation. In the front legs, we have a hinge that goes forward that far and back that far. We have a rotation up there at the top. We have a hinge right here, as well as rotation again. And we have a hinge in the hoof with rotation again as well. Back here in the hind leg, goes forward that far and back that far, though it is backing out a little bit. It's also able to move out like that, about that far. The hinge here at the top of the leg goes forward that far and back that far. There's a very tight swivel on that hinge. This joint bends forward that far. There's also a rotation at that joint. The hinge for the hoof goes forward that far, goes back that far, and there's a swivel on that joint as well. We have a tail, which this is in its neutral pose all the way down. We'll go up that far. It does begin to sag a little bit, and we have rotation for a full 360 should you choose to need it or want it or use it. And having to use the tail a little bit, I am able to get him to come up and rear, which I know that that's not exactly anatomically accurate, but if I want him to balance, that's what I gotta do. But he'll probably live on my shelf in a neutral pose, just because I don't want to have to deal with him falling over. And there's Arthur on the horse without his wings. The stirrups fit around the feet just fine with no problem really. His little loincloth thing, much like Skeletor getting on Panther, kind of have to work with it a little bit because it doesn't exactly want to cooperate with the saddle, but he does fit. And there's Arthur on with his wings, and good lord, if I thought he took up real estate before with just the wings, the horse, holy crap. I don't know why his wings would be on when he's riding a horse. Why ride a horse when you can fly? But he looks cool nonetheless. That's just looking too much into it, I guess. And in taking them off, I discovered that these are pegged in, so you don't even need to use them if you don't want to. Which makes me wonder how much of this other stuff is pegged in, but so is this, evidently. But I'm going to stop there before I completely disassemble this entire saddle, but evidently parts of this are modular. And you can see just from him sitting there for that little bit of time, it's starting to kind of bend the little flap there. But there's Arthur in front of the horse, as vanilla as I can get him, so you can see the height between the two of them. There's a horse next to Ram Man, horse next to Man at Arms, horse next to Destro, horse next to Black Series Slave Leia, horse next to the dog, and next to Classic Stratos. And that's really all I got for today. I'm very happy with it. I think the sculpt is great. The paint's great. The hooves, I don't know if that's how it's supposed to look or not, but I very much enjoy the horse overall. It's going to make one hell of a display. I wish I knew how to pronounce the name, and I wish I knew a lot more about the Mythic Legion's lore. Is what it is. I got a few more on pre-order, including a half troll, half giant, something like that. I don't know, but they all look really cool. But let me know what you think down below. Is this something that you'd consider getting? Do you collect Mythic Legions? What do you know about the lore? If you do, by the time I'd even heard of Mythic Legions, they were well into, like, I don't know, wave 7 or something. I don't even know how many lines there are. That just tells you how little I know about Mythic Legions, but I love the aesthetics of them. Again, massive shout out and huge thank you to Dante for sending this to me. I very much appreciate it. Again, Infinity Equation is where you can find Dante. Link in the description below, of course. I'll also add the Infinity Equation channel to the little buttons at the end of this video, so you don't even have to travel that far. If it's your first time on the channel today and you like what you saw, then all that is because you click like on the video and subscribe to the channel. It's a great way to help me out, and I very much appreciate it when you do. And I do thank you all for stopping by and spending time with me today. So, until next time, I'm Salty, signing off.